Hello learners, today we will be discussing one of the most important topics for the management and organization and also for the administration of the libraries. It could be public library, it could be academic library, or it could be specialized library. The topic that I am going to discuss now is called performance management and evaluation. You can easily understand what is we are going to discuss in performance management and evaluation. Without managing the performance, we cannot run a library or any other organizations in that sense effectively and efficiently. And when we do the performance management, evaluation is also important for the evaluation of the performance of our employees in the libraries. So performance management and evaluation is very important for the libraries of any kind. Now, what all are going to discuss in today's discussion? We will be covering objectives of performance management, units of performance management, importance of performance management, evaluation, objectives of evaluation, methods of evaluation, techniques of evaluation of library services. Then finally, we'll go for some multiple choice questions and short questions that will be discussed for you, and these questions will cover the discussion that we will have for last 30-40 minutes. So get ready for the discussion. Now, performance management and evaluation are essential process in an organization development, enabling the alignment of individual efforts with broader strategies, objectives. Performance management is a continuous process that encompasses setting clear goals, providing regular feedbacks, and fostering employee development to enhance productivity and engagement. Evaluation, a key component of performance management, involves systematically assigning an individual's contribution, skills, and growth areas, often through structured appraisals or reviews. In today's dynamic environment, the importance of effective performance management cannot be overstated. If we do not do proper performance management, then we cannot function efficiently and effectively to achieve the goal of the organization. All organizations usually will have some goals, and to fill up those goals, we have to have effective performance management mechanism so that we can do the performance management of our employees in the organization. It not only derives organizational efficiency, but also plays a crucial role in talent retention and employee satisfaction. Now, what is talent retention? You know, those who are really talented people, those who do good works in an organization, they will not have dearth of work in other organizations too. And people will request them or people will ask them to join their organization. So retaining the performers, talented people or employees in your organization is very, very important. So it is important that we do performance management and we keep the talented people in our organization. A well-structured system ensures clarity in expectations, motivates employees through recognition, and identifies training and development opportunities. However, traditional methods such as annual performance review have been criticized for being rigid and disconnected from real-time progress. You will agree that a performer who performs throughout the year, and if his performance is measured at the end of the year, that will not be the justice. So, his performance should be measured every now and then as and when it is done. So, it is expected that instead of annual performance reviews, the review of performance should come occasionally, maybe weekly, monthly, or as and when an employee does a good job. So that way we should do the performance measurement. Organizations are increasingly adopting agile, continuous feedback models supported by technology to address these limitations. So, to overcome these limitations of annual performance review, what organizations are doing? They are taking constant feedback, and these feedbacks are supported by the technology to address the limitations of annual performance review. This shift underscores the growing emphasis on fostering a culture of collaboration, fairness, and adaptability in performance evaluation practices. By integrating performance management with strategic goals and employee centric approaches, organizations can create an environment that supports growth, innovation, and long term success. So, for long term success and growth of the organization, performance management strategy is very important for the sustainability and growth of the organization. Now, let us see what are the objectives of performance management. Performance management is a strategic tool designed to evaluate and enhance the effectiveness of individuals, teams, and organization. Its primary objective include aligning goals. Number one, what is aligning goals? This ensures that individual, team, and organizational objectives are synchronized towards the unity in achieving strategic priorities. So there is no single thing. Here it is individual, team, and organizational objectives should be the same to achieving the set goal of the organization. Monitoring progress to track performance against set goals and benchmarks, providing visibility into achievements and areas acquiring improvement. What is monitoring of progress? If we do not monitor the progress, then it is impossible to know how the organization is behaving, how the library is behaving. So it is important to track performance against set goals and benchmarks. If organization A is achieving this much of uh, targets, where we are in comparison to that organization. Providing visibility is another important thing to monitor the progress of the organization. Dividing accountability to establish clear standards and expectations, encouraging individuals and teams to take responsibility for their performance. This is very important. You should be responsible for the job that you do. If there is a mistake, you cannot say it is X, Y, or Z has done, it is not my responsibility. It cannot be that way. So, in performance management, when we do the performance management, an employee should be responsible for their or his performance. Enhancing decision making to offer a data driving insights that super comparison decision on promotion, resource allocation, and performance intervention. Identifying improvement areas to pinpoint what is identifying improvement areas. There are places where we observe that we need improvement. There are lack of progress. So to pinpoint weakness and skill gaps, facilitating targeted actions for professional and organizational growth. This is important. We need to find out the weakness of a segment or a particular person or a team to see that the organization is going to the right path with their effort and sincerity. Recognizing and rewarding excellence, this is really important. If you do a good job, then you should be recognized. We say recognize or reward in public, tout in private. So, if you are doing a good job, you should be rewarded in public. Public should know that you have done a good job. So, to highlight and celebrate high performance, boosting morale and motivation across the workforce, that is called recognizing and rewarding excellence. If everyone is considered same, then the people will not be motivated. So those who are doing really good job, those who are contributing to the organizations, going extra mile, they should be rewarded as per the performance they have done for the promotion and growth of the organization. Facilitating communication to promote ongoing dialogue between employees and managers, ensuring clarity and understanding of roles, expectations, and feedback. This is another important thing. If the communication is not clear, if the direction is not clear, then there will be a communication gap. So there should not be any communication gap between the managers and the employees. They should be clearly communicated what is expected from them and what they should be delivering for the betterment of the organization. Promoting efficiency and effectiveness. This is another important aspect to optimize processes and resource utilization, ensuring consistent delivery of high quality results. So, efficiency and effectiveness. We should always see how efficiently and effectively the work is done. So, to optimize processes and resource utilization, ensuring consistent delivery of high quality results. Enhancing employee development to identify training and development needs, supporting continuous learning and career progress. Enhancing employee development. Unfortunately, in Indian scenario, government scenario, much emphasis is not given for the development of the employees, which is really important. They should know the latest trends in the place they are working for. So, it is important that we identify training and development needs of our colleagues or employees, the field they are working, and supporting them for continuous learning and career progression. If they are learned the latest technology, the progress that is happening in the field, and if they are trained on that, then that training will contribute for the ultimate development of the organization. So, enhancing employee development is a major aspect in performance management and evaluation. You can see this chart where it is clearly mentioned the performance management's objectives, and you can go through this chart. Now, we are talking about performance management. How do we manage performance? Number one, productivity and efficiency units. What is productivity and efficiency units? Productive output rate, units produced per hour day, is called productivity or efficiency units. In other words, how much work is done a day, how many units are produced a day, that is called productivity unit. Resource utilization, percentage of resources, equipment, labor effectively used, that we need to see. How much percentage of resources are used for completion a job that is needed by the managers of the organization. Cycle time, time taken to complete a task or production cycle. Capacity utilization, ratio of actual output to maximum possible output. Say for example, we wanted to produce or we wanted to enter 10 books in a day. That is the maximum possible output, expected output. But we are seeing that 5 books are entered in the computers, though the maximum possible output was 10. Then we need to check why it is only 50%, why it is not going to be 70%, 80%, or so on. So that is called capacity utilization. Customer satisfaction units. This is very important for the field of library and information science. Customer retention rate, percentage of customer retained over a given period. How many customers are retained over a given period of time? This is really important. Retention of customers shows that the library or the organization is doing well for the customers. So, customer retention, percentage of customer retention is very important. Net promoter score, it calls NPS, measure of customer loyalty and likelihood to recommend. Measure of customer loyalty and likelihood to recommend. Customer satisfaction score, CSAT, direct feedback on satisfaction levels. That is how much they are happy, what services they have got. This kind of satisfaction feedback is always needed for the betterment of the organization and to measure the performance of the employees in libraries or other organizations for the betterment of that particular organization. Complaint resolution time, average time to resolve customer complaints. This is very important. Average time to resolve customer complaints. A lot of complaints customers usually have when they use the services of a library or, in that sense, any service organization. So we need to resolve this kind of customer complaints. And it cannot wait for long. We need to see how long we are taking for the uh, uh, for resolve the customer's complaint about the services, products, or the quality of services and products in our library or any service organization. Next comes employee performance units, key performance indicators, KPIs, metrics specific to roles and responsibilities. Metrics, we take the metrics of the roles and responsibilities of the employees for the specific role that was given to a particular employee to perform. That is called key performance indicator, that is used for employee performance units. Attendance and punctuality, that is another unit for the employee to measure the employee performance unit. Attendance and punctuality, work hours worked or tardiness rates, how much he worked in a particular time and how tardy it was, that we need to see. Task completion rate, percentage of tasks completed within deadlines. Any organization, we cannot go without deadlines. So, to fulfill a task within a given deadline, we need to see whether an employee has completed his task within a given period of time. That is called task completion rate. Employee engagement, survey scores or turnover rates. That is also important in case of employee engagement. Next comes quality and compliance unit. This is important. Any organization, we should not compromise the quality. Quality is important. Everyone wants to see the quality. So, we need to see the defect rate, number of defective units per production batch. We need to see error rate, errors per transactions or operation. For example, you are feeding data in Koha software or a software or a library management software. We need to see how perfect it is. If there is error, what is the percentage of error that we need to see while we are doing the performance management and evaluation of our employees. Compliance scores, adherence to regularly standards or policies, regulatory standards or policies, how much you are adhering the regulatory standards or policies of the organization. Innovation and growth units, new product introductions, number of products launched in a given time frame. We have given you a time frame and need to see how many new products, electronics or non-electronics products could be you have launched in your library or your service station. Time to market, duration from concept to product launch, market share growth, percentage increase in market share, learning and development units. This is very important. Training completion rates, percentage of employees completing required training. Again, I should mention that in Indian culture, especially in library culture, we do not give much importance about training and development. So it is important that we give much importance for the training and development of our employees for the ultimate benefit of the libraries. Skill improvement, post training assessment scores, certification rates, percentage of employees earning relevant certifications. These all are important. Skill improvement, certification rates, this boosts the energy and motivates the employees to do better for the organization. Importance of performance management in libraries. That is the topic you were looking for. So, what is the importance of performance management in libraries? Performance management in libraries is crucial for several reasons, as it helps ensure the library operates efficiently and provides high quality services to users. Here are some key points on its importance. Through the performance measurement, we can see how the library employees are providing services to the library users and the quality of the services that they are providing to the library users. That is the thing that we should consider while we are measuring the management of the performance management of the library employees. Improving service quality. Performance management helps track and improve the quality of services offered to the library users. So if we do not do the performance management, we will not be able to know the quality of service offered to the library users. So performance management helps track and improve the quality of services offered to the library users, such as access to resources, response times, and user satisfaction. Operational efficiency. By monitoring staff performance, workflows, and resource utilization, libraries can identify areas for improvement and streamline processes, which can lead to cost savings and better use resources. Accountability. This is really important. When a job is given to you, you should be accountable for the job. You cannot pass on to others. It ensures that the staff members are meeting organizational goals and standards. Clear expectations and feedback systems help staff perform their best and contribute to overall success of the library. Clear expectations and feedback systems help staff. Expectation. We need to set an expectation and feedback mechanism that will help staff perform their best and contribute to the overall success of the library. Professional development, performance management allows for the identification of training needs, helping staff enhance their skills, stay updated on new technologies, and improve their professional growth. So these are really important. Performance management allows for the identification of training needs. Once we do the performance management, we come to know what kind of trainings our employees are required. We help them accordingly to enhance their skills, stay updated on new technologies, and improve their professional growth. Users' engagement. Libraries are often at the heart of their communities, and effective performance management can help libraries develop programs and services that resonate with other users' needs and expectations. So, users' engagement, that is important. Engagement is a new term for the libraries. Users are no more the takers and givers of book. They should be a part of the library. They should be engaged in the library. We should engage them by doing different kind of programs and workshops or educational fairs, something like that, so that users are engaged for the library and they are a regular visitor of the library. That is another important thing. Resource allocation, regular evaluation of performance helps library identify resource gaps and prioritize investments in new technologies, staff development, or materials based on user demands and performance data. How do we allocate resource without knowing? We can allocate resource only when we know the requirement of that resource, and that is possible when we do the performance management and evaluation of our employees. That will come out from the employees that they need this kind of resources for the development and growth of the organization, and accordingly we give them technological support and other support for the promotion of the library. Goal achievement. Libraries often have specific strategic goals. Increasing digital literacy or and performance management ensure these objectives are met by aligning staff efforts with organizational goals. So a library cannot go on your own, cannot set its own goals. The library has to go with the goals of the organization, of the parent organization. Libraries have to follow the goals that is set by the parent organization, and they follow the goals of the organization and set their goals accordingly. So that is important. Data driven decision making. Performance management systems collect data that can be analyzed to make informed decisions about library operations, helping managers understand trends, challenges, and opportunities. So data is important. Data-driven decision making. When we have data, we are well informed before the decision is made about the library operations. This helps managers understand the trends where the library is going. If we do not understand the trends that AI is the thing now, then we are not doing the right thing. So we need to know how AI can be incorporated in library services. So these kind of things we can get while analyzing the data. So you need to have accurate data, a right number of data for taking the right kind of informed decisions, challenges, and also to opportunities. Now, evaluation. What is evaluation? Evaluation is the process of assessing or judging the quality, effectiveness, or value of something. Quality, effectiveness, or value of something. It involves systematically collecting and analyzing information to form an opinion or make a decision based on specific criteria or standards. There are several types of evaluation, such as educational evaluation, assessing the effectiveness of teaching methods, curricula, or students' performance. What does it do? It assesses the effectiveness of teaching methods, the methods that is used for teaching, the curricula that is used for teaching, and the performance of the students. If a student is not doing well, then we need to find out why he or she is not doing well, and accordingly measures has to be taken so that he is also at par with other students. Program evaluation, reviewing the implementation and outcomes of a specific program to determine if it achieves its goals. We, we cannot do a program uh, which is not achieving the goals of the library. So the program should be determined in such a way, or we should conduct a program that goes in the line of the goals of the library. So programming goals is very important. Evaluation of programs is very important for the growth and effective and efficient running of a library. Performance evaluation, assessing the performance of individuals. This is very, very important. Performance of individual, assessment of the performance of individuals, teams, or organizations, often in the workplace. This is very important because if we do not assess the performance of individuals, and in that context the teams or organizations, then we will not be knowing what all they are doing. So this is important in a workplace. Evaluation is important for making informed decision, improving process, and ensuring that goals are met effectively and efficiently. Objectives of evaluation. This is important. What are the objectives? Why do we do evaluation? Or measure the performance of employees or other things. Some of the basic objectives of evaluations are: number one, it helps to determine how well performance expectations are being realized. We need to know what is expected from us. That is important. So we do performance evaluation to understand how the employees of the organization understood what kind of expectations the organization or the library has from them. It determines a set of objectives prior to implementation. It determines a set of objectives prior to implementation. What does that mean? We can have lot of new things, objectives, before its implementation. Before we do implementation, we determine a set of objectives. Okay, So then only we implement a thing. It assesses the reasons for specific success and failures. That is called, sometimes it is called strength and weaknesses also. Why a specific assignment given to a group or an individual is successful, and if it is failed, why it is failed. So we need to know the reason of success, the truth behind the success, and also to know why it is failed, if at all it is failed. That is important. It explores techniques for improving effectiveness. So we need to improve the effectiveness and efficiency, as I told earlier also. So it explores the techniques for improving effectiveness and efficiency. It establishes a foundation for further research. Okay, so we do always research findings. So it establishes a foundation for further research. So that is another important thing. That is another important objective of performance management and evaluation. It redefines system objectives. Okay, method of evaluation. How do we measure the how do you evaluate the uh, performance of our employees? Purpose: to monitor progress during a process and provide feedback for improvement. Summative evaluation: to assess the effectiveness and outcomes at the end of an intervention or program. First thing is the purpose, then summative evaluation, then comes diagnostic evaluation. What is diagnostic evaluation? To identify strength and weakness before the start of a program or process. So in case of summative evaluation, what we do? We assess the effectiveness and outcomes at the end of an intervention or program. But in case of diagnostic evaluation, we identify strengths and weaknesses before the start of the program or the process. Norm reflected evaluation: to compare the performance of an individual or group to a norm or benchmark is called norm or benchmark referenced evaluation. Criterion referenced evaluation: to assess whether an individual or group has met specific criteria or learning objectives. That is important. Self-assessment: to allow individuals to reflect on their own performance and identity areas for improvement. Now, let us see the techniques of evaluating of library services. How do we evaluate the library services? Evaluating library services is crucial for understanding their effectiveness, identifying areas for improvement, and ensuring they meet the needs of users. Here are several techniques for evaluating library services. Survey and questionnaire method. In this case, we send a written questionnaire to our members to know their feedback. Then comes interview method. Here one-to-one interviews is done. The librarian usually sits with the members and get their feedback. Focus group meet. A facilitator leads a group discussion about various aspects of library services, often guided by specific questions or topic. Usability testing. The record of new users interact with library technology or physical spaces, noting any challenges or difficulties. Service statistics collect and analyze data such as book checkout, database usage, visitor counts, and attendance at events. Benchmarking, this is another method. Measure library services against established benchmarks, either from peer librarians or industry standards. Observation, conduct both structured and unstructured observations of users interacting with library services, staff, or resources. Exit interview, brief interviews or surveys conducted as users exit the library to gain immediate impression. Peer review, interview, invite experts or peers from other libraries to evaluate the services and policies of the libraries. Now, let us discuss few questions about the topic that we discussed right now. Learners, see the questions and think about the answers that would be from the text that we just discussed. To measure the performance, number one, question number one, to measure the performance on a weekly basis, question number one of the objectives of performance measurement is to measure the performance on a weekly basis, to monitor the progress, to increase the production, to punish the non-performing employees. Question number two, one of the techniques of evaluating library services is focused group meet, taking feedback from non-users of libraries, taking regular feedback from the librarian, none of the above. So you have to think and answer. One of the methods of evaluation is measuring the set standards, 360-degree method, measuring the progress on a regular basis, none of the above. One of the importance of performance measurement of library is to achieve the goals, to increase the number of documents, to make available finance, to improve the infrastructure. One of the units of performance measurement is staff satisfaction unit, customer satisfaction units, work environment satisfaction unit, none of the above. Now, let us discuss few short questions. What is performance management? What are the objectives of performance management? Question number one. Question two. What do you understand by the units of performance management? Mention 5 units of performance management. What is performance evaluation? Mention 5 techniques of performance evaluation. Performance management is importance in libraries. Describe. Name the methods of performance evaluation. Describe any 5 methods of performance evaluation. Thank you so very much for your attention. I hope that this will help in improving your performance and the betterment of your organization. Thank you all.